All right, we should be recording. And hello, everybody. Sorry for the late start. And if everyone can hear me, and we'll just go ahead and get started. And we're going to do web training today, so please don't panic. We will be here for you guys. We're going to go through some real basics today. We're going to go over logging in, the Cascade dashboard and what it can do for you, adding and editing pages, images, files, what rows, columns, and widgets are, some icons, what's versioning, and publishing. Do you guys have any questions before we start today? I will take that as no. So here we are. This is Cascade login, and a couple of things to remember with Cascade. You cannot get to this login page unless you are on the network. You have to be VPN and in or actually in the office in order to get to this page. And in order to log in, it is just going to be your Active Directory login, which is the same thing you would use to log into your computer. And the one thing, I'm sorry, I didn't spend enough time right there, but the one thing I will point out is you'll notice that my C number was all lowercase, and that has to be with Cascade. It's one of the few things that are just a little bit weird for it. You can't log in with capitals. It'll reject it and say it's wrong no matter how many times you put in the right password. So once you log in, you hit your dashboard. And these little widgets on your dashboard are changeable. You can, so I have what's called a link checker here set up to the directory, and this is telling me that there's 922 broken links. And if I click on it, it'll actually give me a breakdown of where the broken links are and what where I need to go to fix them. If you want to add other widgets, there's a whole slew of them in this add widget in the upper left-hand corner. And you can add anything from new content to your upcoming tasks. I'll show you tasks in just a minute. Stale content. So if you have your settings set up so that after 60 days, your stale content will get tripped and it'll say, hey, you have not updated this page in quite a while. You should probably take a look at it. So those are some things that in the beginning are not a bad idea to get set up. They can be extremely helpful. The other thing that is helpful right here on the dashboard is this My Content tab. In My Content, it'll show you what you've worked on recently, what content you own, so what you've actually imported in and what pages you've created. If you're in the middle of drafting maybe 2 or 3 pages or newspaper articles, anything like that, your drafts will show up here. You can lock assets, which means, and I can show you that in a little bit. What it does though is if you're in the middle of editing something, you can actually lock it so that other people cannot get to it. And then there's tasks. You can assign tasks to yourself. So say maybe 6 weeks from now, you need to remember to take something down and it's not on a timer, or maybe you need to add something, make it go live, that kind of thing. You can add in tasks right here, and then you can have them added to your front page so that way, if you have any upcoming tasks, it'll show here right as you log in. Does that all make sense? I'm going to assume, since no one's responded, that yes, that is. So and I'm gonna. So this is what it's actually going to look like when you guys log in as content editors. This is where your dashboard will start. You can hook things up as you want to. And I will show you really quick too. It's not hard to set up the link checker and things like that. Literally, it'll give you a list of sites that you're allowed to view, and you can click which one you want to set up for link checker or upcoming tasks or anything like that. So going back to this, you can either go right here to my sites and it lists Sandbox. You can also go up here. It only lists the sites that you have access to. So right now you guys just have Sandbox. And that's another thing I should have given you a heads up on. So today we're going to do training, and as soon as we get done, I shouldn't say as soon as, by the end of the day, we'll send you guys an email, and it will have the address and login for the Sandbox that you guys can get to, so you can practice after we get done and play around with the widgets and the rows, the columns, the whole nine. And you'll also receive at that time too it's a manual. It's not quite maybe done 100% yet. It's more of a living document, but it'll get you started with everything that we're doing today. So once you get into your actual site, we'll go over editing content. You're going to find that for forestry, everything's in forestry. And as you can see, I clicked this right here. Whatever, when you click these view folders, it loads everything you're looking at right here. So for this one, I want to look at the forestry main page, let's say. And there's fair warning, this is not what your site looks like. These are not your colors. These are not anything. What we've literally done is just taken a quick capture of someone else's theme and applied it to your Sandbox for now. We're in the middle of building out your guys' site. And so we can't let you in it at the moment, and the design is still being worked on. But so just know that while the front end is not going to look like the final product, the reality is everything we're doing in the back end is going to be just like what you would do in the back end of your own site. So just some fair warning, things are a little bit different colors, all that good stuff. That will get fixed up later in your actual final site. So one thing you can do is say I want to see the front end of this page that I'm going to edit. I can right click it and scroll down to this view on the live website. Now what it does is it automatically loads production, but everything that we're doing right now is only on test. And this is going to be true for your actual site when it's just dnrc.mt.gov. When you want to look at stuff and you say post it to test first, you're always going to have to go in and type in this test before the dash before the DNRC in order to get to the right page that you're making updates to. So as you can see, this page actually has the information on it that is showing in here, but it's not on production yet because I haven't made production live. So a couple things here on the in order to, so if you find, I'm sorry, let me back up. If you would like to find a page in the back end of Cascade, it's your URL. So as you can see where it says forestry right here, in the back end, we're going to forestry. That everything that you guys own, all of your pages that are being built out are under forestry. So everything starts for you guys in this folder when you're trying to make updates. In order to make an edit, and oh, I'm sorry, right here you'll see the little timer when it's loading. Just so you know, Cascade on occasion does take a minute to load, and I apologize for that. It just does. It's loading a lot of stuff at once. So as you can see, when you're trying to edit a page, you have a bit of a view here. It's not quite the same as the front end, honestly, because it has this right here. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes things look a little weirdly squished, even though they don't on the front end. Don't worry about that necessarily, but you can a lot of times see when you're making content changes to ensure that things are going the way you want them to. So for editing any page, you start with edit. And from here, I think that you guys will find it feels kind of like almost anything you guys have ever used for updating a website, you know, Plone, WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, any of them. You're at the end of the day going to find a lot of the same button clicks, that kind of thing. It'll feel somewhat familiar. So the very first thing you'll notice on this page, it has a banner. So this is a yes. We've added in the image. We need to give it better alternative text, but alternative text is required anytime you put in an image. And then, so that would be your first row. Oh, sorry. That would be your first row. And then if you scroll down, your second row is this right here. And from the back end, you have to click in a bit, but you can see now where I've hit the actual widget. So for editing, it's just a matter of finding the row and then the widget in which the content has been placed in. And then from there, it's like anything else you've ever done. This WYSIWYG, which is a what you see is what you get, is going to look familiar to Word and to any other thing. I know for those of you who have used Plone, you've used all of these, the bolds, the, you know, aligning text, that kind of thing. And as you can see, when you hover over it, it'll give you the name of what it does. So this is a numbered list and this is a bullet list. And here's your links. And we can go over really quick. Say we decided to add an image in the middle of this text. Or we can actually even just add it right below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cursor wherever I want the image to go. And then I'm going to use the insert and edit image. So the image type is internal. On occasion, you may actually have an external image, which you use a link for, but in this case, in 99% of your cases, you're just going to use an image source. And this is going to feel familiar in that you can browse. And so all images are held in the image folder. And you know what? I apologize. I'm going to close this really quick and show you something. Here's the images folder right here. You're also going to get and put images into that folder from here. So choose your file and either you're going to browse the images folder and find something, or you're going to upload. And the only thing you want to do when you upload is make sure that this says images. This actually said it was in the Forestry folder, which is not where we want it. That's where all your pages are. We want all of your images actually in the images folder. And so you would choose that, and then up here, you could drag and drop, or you can, you know, use the choose and navigate to wherever you need to on your computer in order to get what you're looking for. And for this one, we're just going to browse. We'll just choose this one. So this is the size. Let's say that it automatically puts in the dimensions of the size the image is. But if I wanted it to be, say, only 150 pixels across, I could make it a little smaller right here. It's going to automatically make it a square because that's what the image already is. And then this is do you want the image center? Do you want the image left? Do you want the image right? So this is just a format or a styling for your image. And once you're done, you hit OK. And then let's say I go, oh, you know what? I wanted something else. I can click back on the image and change my mind, pick a different format for it, a different sizing, the whole 9 yards. So totally up to you. Also, you know, this editor will work. You can do this if you need to, that kind of thing. So once you have made your edit, just go ahead and click the check content and submit. It's going to make sure that you don't have any major misspelled words, no broken links, and that you're passing accessibility. If any of these are red, you need to probably just take a minute to deal with whatever the issue is. So that way you don't put out bad content. Once this has been done, you just say yes. And the very last step, I will say this, Cascade wants to make sure that you really want to publish stuff. So you have to publish like 16 times. So we've already said, yes, it's good, but the reality is it's not going to show up here yet because we haven't published it to the front end. That's this button right here. And for the most part, you are not going to play with anything up here. The only thing you're ever really going to mess with is this right here. And we're just sending it to test DNRC. We're not sending it to production because we have not actually put production out there yet. So we'll just do test and hit publish. You can view the publish queue. You will find that you are not the only ones in Cascade. And sometimes, as you can see, other sites with active publish jobs is DPHHS. Yours just got done going, so it's good. Oops. And we should be able to get that on the front end now. And we did. I will say on occasion, don't forget, and it'll drive you insane like it does us. We do have a lot of cache on our browsers and F5 and on this server. So sometimes, even though you hit the refresh button, you will not see your changes on the front end, and you have to hit like Control R a couple times to what's called a hard refresh, and that helps get rid of the cache, and that'll help you see your stuff on the front end. But it's not because it's not going through. It's actually just a matter of the waiting for the server to catch up. And I'll take a minute right there. Does anyone have any questions yet? Okay, well, we'll just keep going then. So, right in, we'll go back in here and talk about this a bit more. Do you guys know what the difference is between rows, columns, that kind of thing? Do most of you have experience updating the website?
I'll walk them through it, Lori, just to be safe.
Oh, I'm going to. I was just curious as to how in depth we should go. Okay, so every single page pretty much starts with a row. So inside the row, you have this first heading. You can absolutely, we'll type in a heading on this first row, and the heading size is H2. I will put it out there for you guys now. You're on occasion, you're going to want to try to put in H1 because you want the font to be bigger. You want the heading to be different. You want to style it. H tags are not for styling. H tags, and there should only ever be one H1 tag, period, on any page that you build. And the reason why is there's actually two reasons. One is for Google. That's how they tell what your page is about and how to rank you and where you should come up in their search rankings. And two is it is something that screen readers use and H tags on a screen reader are almost like a book appendices, if you will. Like it starts with H1 and H2 needs to be under H1. H3 needs to be under H2. and that they should be nested, they should be in a row, and they have very specific things, and it has to do only with titles and only with things that actually offer information. So not every title is necessarily a title that needs to be a part of a book, your appendix, right, on that page. And so for those ones, oh, this one doesn't. For those ones, you can use the smaller H6s, because after H4, most screen readers and most what am I trying to say? Like Google, like search indexes don't care about H5 and H6, those kinds of things. So if you're really stuck and need a background header, you can use the smaller ones. But in this case, we're going to put this as a row. We're going to have it be an H2. Maybe we want some background color on this one. And again, because this is not your template and your colors, just know that at the end of the day, whatever colors I'm putting in the background or that you guys play with, those are not your colors. Yours are going to be different, but you're going to have the same look and feel in that there's going to be 4 block colors, and you can just pick one, and we'll make the row a block 2 color. You can put a bottom border on it. Container width, partial. So most things are partial because they are somewhat boxed within content. But on occasion, depending on the widget, especially if you want it to stretch all the way across the back, especially when you have color in the background, you're going to want to use full. And you can do your layout. We'll get to this. It's left, right, and even, and that has to do with your columns, which we'll talk about in just one second. So these are things that are open for every row, and you will see after I put it on here that it just shows up, and I can see it, and I can check the colors right here before I even publish it to make sure that it's not that I'm choosing the right color. So this goes from, we'll pretend I love this color scheme right here and keep going. But so these are things that you can do to help decorate your page and content, to help make things interesting. You know, I just always try to remind people as we're doing things that less is more usually. So don't make every single block have color underneath it. Break some of that up with a little white space. But so that's a row, and you can see where this is the header and this is the row, and then this is the second row that starts. So it doesn't have a background color. You can also make these things into columns. I have done here, and see how there are 2 columns. So because I have 2 columns, they're going to be side by side, and I could choose to have it be the left side bigger, the right side slightly bigger, or even. I went with even for this particular one. And that that makes it so that you have 2 separate columns. You can put up to 6 columns, I do believe, on a page. So if for some reason you wanted, say, a third column, you could absolutely add that in, and we'll just write test on it. And as you can see, this also is where you can publish as well. This is running the back end, so it's letting me know that it's almost done doing what I need it to do. And then I'm going to publish it. And I'm just making sure that just the test is checked and hit publish. And I'm waiting for this to go through. As you can see, it goes really quick once it hits because it's just one page. And there we go. Does anyone have any questions so far? Sorry, I'm looking, I made up a couple of pages for us before we started and I need to find them really quick. If I can remember what it was. I think it was forest products. Oh, well, we can just recreate it. So what I was going to show you next, and we'll just go through it and do it. Let's say we decided that on this page, we're going to have a new widget, a FAQ. I'm sorry. I'm gonna look up some lorem ipsum really quick so we can put some stuff in. All right. There we go. So we'll start this by saying this is our intro paragraph, our first row. And I'm good with that. So when I get done with that row, I'm going to add another one. And in this row, we're going to use a different widget. And so when you get down to the where it says widget right here, you can pick from any of these built-in accordions, blocks, calendars, carousel, news gallery, all kinds of stuff. And in your manual, we go into each one in detail with pictures, the whole nine, showing you how to use them. But as I always say, don't spend hours frustrated with it either. If you guys get stuck on those, hit us up with a ticket and we'll help you walk through it and get it set up the first time. So for this one, we're going to do blocks and nope. It's the accordions. Oh, right here, facts. Anyway, so facts. And from here, it's really easy. Now that I know which one it is, which widget it is I'm trying to use, what I do is add this, this will be our first fact. And here's why I wanted to show you facts, because this is a fun piece. Do you guys know what font awesome is? Anybody? Okay, I will assume nay for this one. Font awesome is it's an icon language, I guess is what you would call it. So in Font Awesome for free, they have these little icons that they've made. And we have installed Font Awesome. So all we need is this FA solid FA tree to put in here. And I'm sorry to say that it gave us too much. We got to get rid of all that. All we really want is the text in there. And then once you're done, you'll go ahead and add in, let's say, one more fact. And this can be FAQ2. This can be. So we have a couple of accordions and we have a starter block. We'll go ahead and check our content, get it submitted. It doesn't know what to do with Latin, so ignore that. And so I'm publishing the page. And now, as you can see, I'm going to come over here. And as you can see, it put in the little icon. There's a few things we can do with CSS to, if you guys decide this is something that you're going to use, we can make them blue, we can make them or green or bigger or, you know, things like that. So don't be afraid to ask for help when it comes to helping get things like that to display the way you want it to. But as you can see, it just creates an accordion. It's a fact and it just shows up on the page. Does anyone have any questions so far? Right. Let's see, we can go over a couple more widgets too. And another row. For blocks, you guys can do, does anyone know what tiles or cards are? In essence, it's whenever you have like the little picture on top. A lot of times you see these for news, that kind of thing, or just for things of interest, quick links. There's all kinds of reasons to use a quick card. And as you can see, it's just a thing of interest. Maybe you have like a whole page you want to redirect people to. So that's would be where your go somewhere goes. And it's one of those things that we have built in that makes it really easy to add in. So you can add in a obviously I chose block and then I have to choose the type. There's blocks, there's cards, there's tiles. So we're using cards and you can say it's an image. And if it's an image, you choose an image. So we're going to come back over here to browse again and go find our image folder. And we'll use the birds for this. I will say, and I'm doing a very poor job of giving you a good example right here. But for the alt image, the image alt, that is truly just for people who use screen readers. And I highly suggest you be as specific as you possibly can. If you happen to know, like, the birds are in Toole County, saying those kinds of things, because the reality is the people with screen readers aren't seeing it, they're having it read to them. So having something that is specific and informational is extremely helpful. I don't imagine if I was using a screen reader and came to this page and it just says image, birds. It's not horrid, but it could be better. And I have to imagine too that if you're someone who uses a screen reader, having things read back to you all the time and having it just be birds all the time would be very annoying. So I think that you know, if you have the opportunity to add in some specific information, that would be awesome. Oh, sorry, I'm stealing. Oh, do I have it? Yeah, I'm stealing some more lorem ipsum really quick, so I have something in my card. Anyway, I put in a picture, I put in this, and then I can go see what this looks like before I do anything with it. Oh, so, and this is kind of hard to catch because it loads like this. With this card and with all of these cards, and you'll find this also with background images, it offers you the opportunity to have a link. And even though it says no link when it's loading, you have to actually go pick it. One of these days will fix the JavaScript for that. It annoys me, but regardless, you need to tell, whether there's no link, there's an internal link or there's an external link. And this will make the whole card linked. So that way, so just keep that in mind. If you don't want the image to be clickable and all of the text to be clickable, maybe you want no link, but you want an actual link right here. That's always a possibility as well. So it just depends on what you want the feature to be at the end of the day. For the left. I don't know what I hotkeyed there to give me that, so it was just a super fun time for no reason. Oh. It hotkeyed all over me and it didn't actually, as you can see, it didn't save what I was doing, which is annoying. I don't know why it did that. I'll have to figure out what the hotkey was that I hit. So we'll do this again really quick. We will go to blocks, choose a card. Oh, sorry. You can, this items per row, and this might have been what it was yelling at me about earlier as well. You can make it a slider, you can make it 4 across, you can make it 3 across, you can make it 2 across, totally up to you. So we'll do, this is. Because I had chosen the birds not too long ago, it shows up under my recent. That's why that was just popping up right there. See if I can make it save it this time. And this again is, it wants to fix the Latin because I'm using lorem ipsum. So typically I spend more time looking at what is popping up for not being spelled correctly before and there you go. There's a card. And this would be, if I had, well, actually we can just make it really quick. It's going to be a 2 by 2. So that's how big they are because they're half the screen. If you do 3 by 3, then it's divided into thirds, etc. and so on. Does that make sense to everybody? Oops. So if I want to put 2 by 2, obviously I need to click the block so that I have 2 blocks, and this will be hard too. And it'll just have ground color. Cards don't have to have images if you don't want them to. And there you go. As you can see, they're automatically set so that they'll be the same size and show up that way in the row correctly. And then of course, if I want this on the front page, in order to finish this, I would need to actually publish it. Yes. So one of the things that you'll love is we do keep versioning. So I made a whole bunch of changes to this, and we keep up to 20 versions. If you go into the upper right-hand corner over here under more, and you go to versions. And you go, I'm not loving it. I messed something up. The page isn't loading correctly. I've done something or I've lost something. I want to go back to where I was. I can actually click right here. And I can do it two ways. I can click on it, which will actually let me view the page itself as it was then. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a good one. That's the one I want to go back to. And if I decide that that is how I want the page to look, and it's the right one, I will go in there and right here and scroll back up to the top, and you'll see I can restore, I can compare with, and I can delete it. And I'm going to go ahead and restore it. And once I do that, I just got to remember to publish it. Otherwise, it's not going to do anything on the front end. It'll still be whatever I publish last. And if you guys want, oops, we can look at really quick too. If you want to compare, let's say this one to what is currently there, you just click the eyeball. And as you can see, it shows you what has been added and what was originally there. If for some reason you have a page that you do not want showing on the front end anymore, you can always remember that you have a menu on right click when you're over here on the side with your pages, and you can unpublish a page that will make it not available on the front end. And it's a really quick and easy way to get rid of a page, but also not get rid of the information in case you need to come back to it at some point, or you need to make it live again at a later date. And, I think we're getting about to the end. I'm curious if you guys have, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't show you guys how to actually add a page. We've been just going over editing pages, and I apologize for that. So in the top up here, where you go to site content, or I'm sorry, to add content, let me start by saying wherever you're at over here is when you go to add a page, that is where it's going to automatically add it. So maybe I want this page in forestry, although maybe I don't. Maybe I need to go browse because maybe inside forestry, I actually want it to go like to forest management or to about. And so this one we're actually going to create in forestry, and then we're going to move it because I will show you guys how you can move files around if you need to. So we're going to do forestry and choose. And this right here, page name, is not the name that's right here at the very, very top. And it's not the name that's right here. The name of the page is what's actually showing right here. So you will find if you try to type in a name with spaces. As you can see, it's red, it's yelling at me, and it's giving me a suggestion right here because everything has to have a either underscore or a line, and that's without fail. So you can just click this use suggested name, or you can just go put in the dash yourself, whatever you like to do. I usually just accept whatever the suggested name is. Make sure your placement is correct. We'll do call this new page forestry. For me, typically the display name and the title are the same thing. The title is this bad boy right here, and the display name actually doesn't show up on the front end. So, well, I shouldn't say that. The display name will be over here. Includes in menu, displays breadcrumbs. I do believe we're going to take care of the breadcrumbs globally, so you guys won't need to worry about that. This is a page that is, we're going to say, not have a banner. And this is, we'll just call this row. Say that's 2. And then all right, so now we're just going to go ahead and publish this page. We like it. It's perfect the way it is. But I get done and I'm like, I didn't mean to publish it here. I don't actually want it here. I want it in this about. So one thing to be careful of, you guys for the most part will not be able to like I can't take this. I can't, you won't be able to move this page, say, into license and permits or into conversation or director's office. You're only going to be able to move it around inside your own forestry folder. If for some reason you are someone who has multiple folders, you probably are still going to have to ask us for help. We can move them to other folders for you. That's not a big deal, or your site admins can, but I would not recommend trying to move folders around. You're probably going to, or trying to move to folders outside of forestry, because you're probably going to find problems with that. So you can do it 2 ways. You can right click on it, go down to this more and move it, and just tell it where you want it to move to. And you can also pick it up and just say, I want you in here. Yes, move. Oh, when you're doing this, what you want to do is unpublish from specific destinations. While you're moving it, as soon as you get it moved, you're going to go back in and republish it. But what this will do is help the database keep up so that you don't have any weirdness with this page because you're moving it after creating it. So, and this is in your manual, but just a reminder that unpublishing it as you're moving it is kind of key to helping Cascade keep everything nice and straight. So once you do that, you hit move. And that's it. Takes a hot second. A lot of the times you're going to have to refresh in order to see that move. It won't just automatically update over here. And then once I'm over here, I can say, oh, yeah, and now I want to go publish it again because it's in the right folder. So does anybody have any questions? I think we're about really at the end. I'm curious if, do you guys just need to get in there and play with it, or is there anything that you're hung up on that you would like me to go back through? Okay, well, um, that was pretty much it. Like we said, we have a manual for you. We're working on video, all that good stuff too. And then these videos that we've been doing for all the trainings, we're gonna also put those so that you guys can get to them and look at stuff. But more than anything, we're gonna get you in a sandbox and let you just try some stuff out. So that way you can get the feel for it. Because I know most people just need that hands-on experience in order to feel comfortable. So. I can give you guys back a good 30 minutes or so of your time. And you're welcome, Anna. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. But yeah, like I said, don't panic. We're gonna help you guys get through this. And I promise, really, at the end of the day, if you've made updates in Plone or ArcGIS Hub or anything like that, you can handle this. It is more than it is just as I want to say just as easy, although Plone's not really easy. So if you've already mastered Plone, you're halfway through. Yep, thank you, Carrie. All right, well, thank you guys. We can go ahead and end this. I'm going to stop the recording and I can stay on if anyone has any questions or anything that they need to talk about. We're here for you.